Have a few minutes? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live in the moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in the Gas South Convention Center, it's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank, member FDIC.
And greetings and salutations, everybody. It's your slightly annoying co-host, Stephen Julian. Welcome to another, hopefully award-winning edition of Gwinnett Business Radio here on Business RadioX from the Gas South, from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studios inside the Gas South Convention Center. Hey, I was late this morning. It's all my fault, but this show is going to be much better than my tardiness. There you go, Harper. Word of the day.
Word of the day is tardiness, and you were kind of
I lived it
tongue-tangled over where we are and what we're doing.
Which studio and all that. So thankfully, we've got a fantastic guest who's going to just take us to new heights, and I'm going to get out of your way.
Yeah, for clarity's sake, let's just say that Sam Crenshaw, who's here with us today, is there anything you don't touch? Sam, it's unbelievable. So you can do does anyone know more about high school sports than you?
No.
College football broadcasting. You've been in studio and on the radio. You've got your own show with 92.9. We're going to talk about a lot of different things, but welcome to the show, Sam Crenshaw.
Great to be here. Great to be in this place. This is pretty amazing.
Well, you had to drive a whole 2 minutes to get here, right?
Well,
did you go through the light? That you know all the guys eating donuts there with the blue lights. You want to hang out with them, but this is local for you as well.
It is, and to have seen the potential and the layout for what this area is supposed to become, it's nice to get over here and see it taking shape and developing, and have this. The studio here.
Well, they want to put a hockey arena in Forsyth. What are we missing here in Gwinnett? What's keeping us?
Raise the roof and put it next door.
Yeah.
We're a whole lot more convenient. We're right off the interstate, and people already are used to coming this way for sporting events. I would hope that they would consider that, but they seem to be so on Forsyth. We'll see. They're not going to get the team in the next year anyway. They're going to stay in Arizona for another season.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Arizona and hockey can figure things out.
They're playing in a place with about 5,000 seats out there right now. So they're playing and they're losing money. So,
but they don't have 5,000 people that are joining those 5,000 seats.
And that's the thing that's amazing.
Me.
That's the thing that's amazing, because what attracted that team there? Retirees. They figured retirees in Arizona would do it much like the retirees in Tampa are doing it for that team, and for Florida, by the way, who's now in the Stanley Cup Finals. So that's what they were banking on. And for whatever reason, it hasn't happened. And so it looks like that team will be looking for a place, either Houston or here. And from the people I've talked to, kind of on the inside, involved with the ownership over here, the commissioner didn't want to go downtown Atlanta.
How about that, Stephen? Sam already's
given
a hint about the people that I'm talking to.
No, he
which
didn't
is
say
in a
it
different
like that.
if it's a
He
different
said it-
place.
he
Well,
said
no,
it with
Sam has
such-
access to a completely different audience than what we have.
He said it with a lot of gravitas and a lot of he's got people he talks to that know, which is why the new place they're talking about is outside the downtown area.
Yeah, it is. It is. Getting there could be a deal. I don't know people who enjoy driving up Highway 400 every day. That's always pretty interesting experience. Just the traffic that's out there, and that area is so busy. And if you're going to put another place that's going to be an Avalon, just to put the next exit up from Avalon. So the whole potential for that is we'll
shall
see.
Yeah.
We will. We know what happened with the Braves. We know the Braves. It was basically a real estate deal with a baseball game thrown in, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're thinking it's going to be, a real estate deal with hockey thrown in.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hey, do us a favor. Let's go back a little bit down memory lane. When you first started in broadcasting, it wasn't just football, basketball. You have a NASCAR background. You've got a tennis background. You touch so many different areas of sports and the business of sports. Talk a little bit about when you first started and your ability to kind of fine-tune where you wanted to go and the direction that you ended up taking.
Yeah, I'm a Southern boy and native of Alabama, and you kind of lean yourself on what you see growing up. And so,
which is Roll Tide, basically.
In Birmingham, it was Roll Tide, War Eagle, and the Allison brothers.
Yeah,
that's basically what it was.
Who was it? Bobby? Is Bobby your guy?
Bobby was Bobby was good, and then later Davey, you know. So knowing them, they were from Hueytown, right outside of Birmingham, and raced over to Talladega. Never dreamed, no chance of going over there to see it. No way my dad was going to take me over to that. But I did get to see everything that came through Birmingham, everything that came through Legion Field, be it an All-Star game or be it NFL exhibition that brought O.J. Simpson to town wearing number 36, not 32. He was a rookie with Buffalo. They came to play the Jets, and Joe Namath was sitting out.
He sat out
during that time. During that time, that was during the time I think he may have been technically retired.
Did he have the Birmingham flu? Because a lot of times when you go to Birmingham and you have a night out, you get the flu.
No.
It's amazing.
OJ may have gotten it, but Namath didn't come to town. That was the disappointment, was to have him, the Heisman Trophy winner, on the field along with with Namath playing for the Jets.
Real quick, big games at Legion Field. Mine was the game of 78 at SC, 77, 78 when SC came to visit. And
that was before then. That was like
I met Lynn Kane and know Lynn, and Lynn told me stories about that specific game.
Yeah.
That, and for those that are listening that may not recall, they didn't play a lot of their big games on campus at Alabama.
No.
In Tuscaloosa. They would go to Birmingham.
Yeah. Well, back then, the schools, a lot of the SEC schools are in smaller towns, and so they would go to the bigger cities because that's where their alums were. They took the game to the alums. And the same thing was true in Mississippi. In Old Mississippi State at the big end, they played in Jackson because who was staying in Starkville?
No one.
No slam on Starkville, folks.
No,
but I'm just saying
a little bit of a slam.
but that was it. You did that, and this past week we're debating whether or not the Florida-Georgia game should stay in Jacksonville. That's a whole different set. But you know what? That is business. That is business. Pat Dye comes to Auburn and decides, why do we have to go to Birmingham? We got a nice stadium here. We want our games here, and bring our alums here and their checkbooks back to campus. And that is why, Alabama took all their big games home, and Auburn did the same thing. Ole Miss, they spruced up their stadium. They did the same thing down at Starkville. Even Arkansas, they were playing games in Little Rock. They're big games that would be nationally televised when Arkansas would get to be on national TV. We're in Little Rock. They all took them back up to campus. So, that's just the change that went on. The neutral site game kind of went away, and that's about business. That's about business. So we'll see. I don't know how a Georgia-Florida game on campus would do, considering what happened the last time Florida came to play at Georgia. I don't think anybody would want to see that. I mean, Spurrier kind of beat the brakes off of them. Would you want to relive that? Plus, we'll ask the Georgia man over here, where are you going to put RV City? At the airport? You think about it, to move it out of Jacksonville.
316. It'll be on 316.
You're going to put a slide all on 316. I'm just saying that's what that game is part of. It's part of the experience and the atmosphere. It is not something I think you would do on campus, but there are people who want to. My thing is, I think it's a ploy to get more cash, right? We got McGarity down there, who was the athletic director of Georgia, who did work at University of Florida, who was a Georgia grad, and now he's like the Gary Stokan of Jacksonville, right? So his deal is to shake the tree. Get Kirby wants to shake the tree and a good get cash. They're going to keep the game in Jacksonville.
Well, and it's fascinating as you're telling that story of how they would take the game to Birmingham for the alum.
Right.
The business decision, the business of sports over time, what all those colleges, especially in the SEC, realize is, okay, what do we need to invest to keep the game on campus and have the alum come to us? Better facilities, bigger stadiums, more seating, all that. So clearly you've kind of seen the evolution of the business, especially when it comes to college football. I believe one of the key things now, and one of the main topics that I know Harper wanted to bring in the studio to talk about is now we're seeing a massive shift to NIL.
Yep.
What are you seeing? What let us get out of your way. You have the floor. Whatever you it's as open-ended a question as I can ask, because it seems to be the wild, wild west right now.
It really is. And you put something out there that is a good idea, but you didn't put guardrails on it or training wheels on it, so to speak. And I think that's the big problem with it. You just turned it loose, and it's ended up being something that it wasn't meant to be. We got the NIL Summit in town this weekend for 3 days. I went to it last year and attended it. I thought it was very well done, very well structured. It wasn't just about guys getting millions of bucks to play football. It was for all sports. If you manage your social media right, you can get something. Those are things you get to. And the average student athlete, you're going to give them an extra 5 to 10 to 12 grand per year. He's happy. He's very happy. And so it's kind of bad that NIL gets the rap that it does because people are using it as an inducement. I was telling somebody last night, I was telling D-Led, D. Orlando Ledbetter of the AJC. I was last night. I said.
Do you have a bow tie on?
Absolutely,
Always.
absolutely,
Always.
and a seersucker suit.
Unbelievable.
To watch Atlanta United.
He's living the gimmick, man.
I was said, hey, we talked about it. He says, well, you would have paid the kids, but should a freshman, an incoming player, get more than guys who are there? Right. I think NIL was originally designed to reward the players who would help the universities achieve all their financial success and whatnot, notoriety, the guys who were there, not somebody you're trying to pull in. And that's the thing that they didn't do anything to police it. Now you got the collectives, and I don't know how you police the collectives.
Well, and it's funny. They set this up and said, well, the schools can't be involved. Well, okay. I mean, how is that going to work? And so these collectives are supposedly well, that's not the school involvement. It's separate. What I'm wondering is over time, let's take football as the biggest example. It tends to make the most money. Football, you've got these. They put money into facilities. They put in nutrition, all the health care the players get, all the training, all that stuff. That all comes from ticket sales and boosters and alumni. If clearly NIL, the money that was going there, some of that. It's not just, we found this additional source of money. No. Some of that is going to siphon off of that. So at what point, I'm wondering down the road, do universities have to go, well, we can't provide this anymore, or we can't provide that anymore, or we're going to, hey, you're getting paid. We need you to pay into, the players have to cover some certain costs. I wonder if that's one of the things because hopefully it expands the pie. Hopefully there's and certainly players have every right to protect their name, image, and likeness and benefit from it. I just wonder if over time there's going to be just less, because I remember a story of Clemson putting in some water slide or something, right. And I just wonder if, well, that's easy. Let's trim the fat off that. But I just wonder if it comes to a point where the universities are like, we can't provide the services we used to provide.
Well, it's already not becoming about facilities. Everybody's talking about facilities. You mentioned water slides and players' lounges and all that type of thing. It's not about that anymore. It's about what you're actually going to offer this kid and their families for them to come there. Like I said, it wasn't originally meant to be that, but that's what it's kind of become. And so, you want to see at what point somebody stops and says, you know what, this is as far as we can go with this. Up in Athens, a big investment has been made. I mean, it's yielding championships. That's what it's designed to do. It costs money to be there. It costs money to get there. Now that they're there, you want to stay. So it's something kind of new in Athens. They've been doing it over in Tuscaloosa for some time. But who's the coach that screams more about it? The guy over in Tuscaloosa. He was screaming this week about Southern Cal. Last summer, he was screaming about Texas A&M and Jackson State. So he's somebody else who feels like is getting the upper hand on him, and obviously so. You had some players that left both Georgia and Alabama, and they're up at Southern Cal. So that's the other part of it you got to get to. You got to put some type of training wheels or something on incoming players. Mm-hmm. It was designed to be something to hey, let's cut something off of the guys who helped us achieve this. The guys who are there, and if you're doing that, then I think most of those guys are going to stay. Men and women athletes will probably stay in place rather than take off.
I think one of the best examples I heard last year, I think it was Hooters. Forgive me if I got it wrong, but Hooters went to a ton of the top colleges and their offensive linemen, mm-hmm. and we're like, we want to kind of we want that to be our thing, and so offensive linemen from many different colleges were part of this one deal, mm-hmm. and I guess it was per college. So I kind of see that a national brand who can go, how can we get a return on our investment by finding the right type of player or the right section of the country or something like that. As somebody who does financial advising as a profession independently, one of the things I've also said is how long until we start hearing, unfortunately, the bad side of this, which is players who aren't given good financial advice and aren't saving up, putting in taxes. And I'm amazed when I'm in the business world I come across business. Oh yeah, I haven't paid taxes in 4 years. I'm like, what? Huh? So imagine a teenager who isn't given good advice or doesn't understand the system.
Well, I think you got people who are in place for that. I think that's some of the people who are downtown this weekend. The people who saw NIL coming along and they, they've created a business. They created a business of taking care of the business. Those young people, young person, just go to class and go play ball, and we'll handle this for you. And so that's kind of something that they've created. I'm looking at the speakers list of people come. I don't know any of these folks, but they're folks who have gotten involved with it, but NIL, and that's their business, the business of dealing with NIL and the different avenues that it takes. It's created a whole different lane.
Trickle that down a little bit, because you've mentioned Bama and Georgia, of course. Let's add Clemson. They're just down the road a little piece, right?
Okay.
Some of the most amazing college football in the last 10 years has just been right in our backyard. And that all comes from somewhere, and that's the local high schools. You've been an advocate for high school sports for as long as I've known you, and much longer than that, I'm sure. How good is the state of Georgia? And for a parent that has a kid that's either going to high school or in one right now, they don't have to play football, but being a part of the experience of what college sports is about, there's a pretty nice little pathway for all of them to really enjoy the time that they're in high school playing football or basketball or swimming. Well, it doesn't matter. There's so many great athletes here in this area.
And not just that, though, but you got school systems, you got administrators who get it, and that's the other part you have to have. You have people that has to come from the top. And so you deal with the high school association. The athletic directors of the state are so kind to invite me to come down and MC some of their events each and every year when they have their statewide convention in Savannah. And you get to hear a lot of the exchange of a lot of ideas that they're doing and things that are coming up for the high school athletes. We prepare folks in this state well for whatever it is, the infrastructure. And so whatever sport there is, you can find people that come in there and recruit our folks. My slogan is, if you're not recruiting Georgia, you don't really want to win. You really don't.
You can close your eyes, throw a dart at a map, and hit some kid, not hit the kid, but I mean hit a spot
No, you don't
where
want to hit the kid.
there's someone in that area that could play for you.
Right, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's what we have, and you're happy about that. You get concerned about some of the programs that want to be IMG Academy, and that type thing, but still there are a lot of kids who still want to be a part of the teams in their communities. They want to play with their friends. They've grown up in that system, like we've seen here in Gwinnett. With the Gwinnett Football League, kids grow up in different communities, and their goal is to go and play for those high schools growing up. They wear the uniforms that look just like the high schools in their communities.
Yeah.
And so that's a really cool thing that we get to see out here where we live.
Hey, talk a little bit about a student that isn't involved with sports particularly on a team, but would love to broadcast. Or is it easier now when I first started, I knew a little bit about sports, or a specific one in football, to where it was easy for me. How would a kid today, do you need a camera and a phone or something? You got to have access, but what would you recommend for someone that wanted to at least consider, I would like to eventually be a broadcaster just like Sam Crenshaw?
Yeah.
I'd have my own radio show. I'm on TV all the time. How would you recommend going about doing that?
Now, start just like you said. You already have what you need to go to work. It's just a matter of what it is you want to cover. And I would tell them, start out with something and get something that's going to be unique, something unique, and something that can be yours. Get that interviewer, that's something that nobody else has. That's the thing that's going to raise your profile and raise your value. They go up, you go up with them. And so that's what I kind of tell young people. You don't have to go to games to cover. Due to our time we had dealing with the virus, we can go on a laptop and watch the game on TV, sit down at the laptop. They're going to sit down the coach. You can interview him, do a complete story. Never thought I'd cover a game from sitting at home.
Yeah.
But that has changed too, and that technology is not going away. So young people can use that as well.
I was going to ask this question. Harper, you guys were talking about high school sports and talking about, especially if you're not recruiting in Georgia, you don't want to win. I love that quote. So I was going to ask you, as someone who's covered high school sports for a while here in the metro area, talk about some of the things you've seen or some experiences you've had, not with the top recruits, but the beauty of sports is you learn teamwork, you learn camaraderie, you learn so many life lessons playing a sport. You've been able to see not just the top recruits, but you've seen people who are never going to play at collegiate level or professionally, but you see you see victory, you see passion, you see life.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about.
There's a joy too, Sam. That Steve was
very
talking.
much.
There's just a joy of being a part of the team. You know?
Absolutely. Just being a part of it and just having that kind of attention exposed to you. And being in that type of environment, the lessons that you learn, obviously, we don't want those to go away. We do something on the radio, on our scoreboard show on Friday night called School Days. And we've had some people, some of the top people who come from this area who participated in sports at the highest level. We bring them back and we talk nothing but high school. And they will all echo the same thing, the lessons that they learned, the teamship, the teamwork, the cooperation, learning to share, and the lessons they learned from their coaches that they still live by, that have carried them throughout their lives. And so that's something that you hope young people will want to experience at some level. And I always say Friday night is a place kids want to be. Even if you're not playing, if you're in the stands with your face painted, if you're on the sideline, you're doing something to help your team, or if you're doing a part of a broadcast. Because almost everybody is being put out there on some platform, be it radio or online, and plugged into that. That's a big part of it, and that's something that I think young people should be a part of. So I think it's great. I've seen that change down through the years. But the thing you get to see in this area, you talk about the big high recruits, and we know the 5-star folks, but there are the other kids who are part of it who just get a chance to go out and play and discover they can go and play somewhere. And to me, those are the National Signing Day stories that kind of stick with you. Meadow Creek is a school here in town, here in Gwinnett. That is very diverse. Their football program has struggled because American football is not the first sport that many of those young people play. And I remember going there once. They won like 2 games. I mean, they've come along now. They're a team that's right there at the playoff contention in the last few years. But they were struggling, and they won about 3 games. And the coach had a kid who was from the Latino community, and he had found a junior college that was going to take this young person on. And the kid found out, and he was hiding from the coach. He didn't want to leave his family. He was afraid to leave his family. And the coach had to track him down. And in signing day, his parents were there just crying. There was such an emotional scene. That's part of what being a part of high school sport can do. They wanted him to go ahead and go. They knew what they
were happy for him.
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But he was afraid to leave. And coach had chased him down. You imagine that? A kid
I'm not going to school. I'm going to cut class.
A coach, somebody's recruiting your kid and got some money for college, and this kid is hiding. Are you kidding, kid? Come out here.
My personal experience was I wasn't very good, and I got better. So I needed a smaller school. There's nothing wrong with, we were talking about the big ones, but we do Georgia State. We have so many guys that we see year after year that aren't even 3-star.
Right.
They just want to play, and they give everything they have. They find that niche where they go, I couldn't make it at Bama or UGA or even at Tech, but I want to play, and I'm going to show somebody I can. Somebody didn't look at me, or the stories are abounding, and they're all different and unique for every one of the players. But we get to see that every Saturday in the fall with Georgia State. The kids that get a chance. There's 90 more kids in the state of Georgia that get or almost all are from Georgia. There's a few from some other states, but they get a chance to play, Sam, and we get to talk about them giving everything that they have the same way that the 5- and 4-star guys do.
Absolutely. You just want a chance to be a part of that Saturday afternoon experience, and that's the thing. And like you said, Harper, you see the light bulb go on with some kid who maybe is coming in as a freshman, trying to figure it out, and by the end of the sophomore year, they're out there making plays. They're doing great things, and the team program rides up, and we've had a chance to experience that.
We're speaking with Sam Crenshaw. We're going to get back to him in just a second. I do want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio is brought to you by Regions Bank. We all know that keeping your company's financial future on track means having the right resources to support your growth. Regions Commercial Banking offers you lending capabilities and strategic solutions tailored to your needs, and you'll work with a team of experienced bankers here in Gwinnett. Discover steps to take that can help move you closer to your business goals. Regions is here to help. To learn more, visit regions.com/commercial-banking. Regions Bank.
Member
FDIC. Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah,
I got
right.
a headache from that bell.
How about
Holy
that?
cow,
They
man.
warn you.
Hey,
before
speaking
you
of
do
the
that.
Round
future and sports and everything, I always enjoy visiting with you because you always have a different angle. Talk a little bit about the future of sports. And one of those that you mentioned to me a few years ago that has really developed is esports. And our producer and really founder here, Mike Salmon, has a specific take in that. We'll include Mike in the conversation as well. But talk a little bit about esports and the direction that that's going.
It's amazing, and a lot of it is happening here in Atlanta. You got a number of cities that are kind of like hubs for it in the country, and Atlanta is one. It kind of ties into the film industry. If you matter, the things that are being done and developed, the technology that's going along with that has allowed esports to really grow and take off here in this area. So it's been fun to watch, amazing to watch, and the fact that, it's a varsity letter sport.
In high
Georgia
school,
High School Association is a varsity letter sport.
There are some colleges that are offering scholarships. I
Georgia
believe.
State has been offering some scholarships. There are there was a college, what's this college up in Pennsylvania? They are offering full ride scholarships for esports.
Wow.
So it's pretty amazing the direction that it's taken, and the people who've been involved with it has been the other thing.
And this has all happened in, I would say, almost the last 10 years. Is it not? Because when my sons were getting into high school, I was starting to see articles and things, and it's exploding.
It really has. And it's been something that's been an online phenomenon. Some people have tried to bring it to TV. Turner had E-League for some time, where they turned the studio into like an arena. They had bleachers. People could come in and watch. They did a pregame show. They had play-by-play people. It's unbelievable, right?
Well, the generation's younger than us.
Oh, yeah.
I am fascinated by their fascination with watching someone playing something online. I don't now. I love watching sports, right?
Yep.
But watching someone controlling someone with a controller, that I don't get.
To the point, though, that we're bringing the EA Sports college game is coming back. Now that we've got things done with NIL, but you think about this: at the very top level of sports, they get it. How long has the Madden game been along and been very popular? And now with NBA, so they get it. They feel like it's another way to lure fans in for the future. And give them a version of the game that they can play.
It comes down to money, right?
Absolutely. Very much.
Follow the money, Sam? You mean really? That we should do that? That's great advice.
That's exactly what has happened. And like you said, when you see it, just think about the game at its highest level. And are they plugged into it? Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing that intrigues me, because at 92.9, back when we started, when Atlanta United was just a concept that Arthur Blanket. There were the SEC guys, the good old boys that were saying, it'll never make it. Well, it won't with you, but it will with some other folks that love it. And they come to the game and they have a great time, and it's just a different source of revenue. The E game, that'll never make it. Guess what? It won't with you. But there are so many, as Steven said, the kids that are out there. And we got a kid that we know just right. How far is his kid? I know Connor's not here, but Mike is 8 feet away from us that is deeply involved in this and could be drafted. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead and share a little bit about yourself.
Let's have producer Mike Salmon, everybody.
And Mike,
There
Mike, what was it like for you when Connor first started telling you, Dad, I think I want to play this game? Go to bed, right? Go to bed.
Get a real job.
Yeah.
But
he's going to.
He plays. He hasn't been drafted yet. He almost got drafted last year. There's only 2 rounds in the NBA 2K draft, and he's hoping to be a first rounder next year. But he plays full time. He makes money. He makes good money playing online tournaments all the time.
Yeah.
Can you explain how that? I mean, so he's not drafted in the NBA E-League. So what's below that? So these are
There
part
are other
of a team.
there are other sponsored leagues
Right.
where you have sponsors that will actually pay for your entrance into these tournaments,
Right.
and then they get a cut of the winnings.
And so the tournament takes place, over a weekend or over a couple of weeks, and he is with.
Over a couple of days, typically, and they can be a lot of times that you can play from your house. But they have annual tournaments, like in Dallas.
Right.
They're hoping to have one in Atlanta soon. But I mean, he's traveled to Dallas and Houston
Philly, right?
and
Didn't he
others.
go to Philadelphia?
He was in Philadelphia recently,
And so the tournaments
and you
are
can make good money.
Right, the tournaments are sponsored, and there's winnings, and then those winnings go to the sponsors who pay their entrance fee, and then cut.
And then the kids, they split the rest.
Yeah.
And you go to these tournaments in Dallas or Philadelphia, and as Sam was saying, I mean, you got an audience, you got a crowd of people that are buying tickets to get into these venues to watch them play.
Right.
And to your point earlier, I asked him, I said, who wants to watch these kids play games? He goes, you watch sports.
Right.
Yeah. Don't you?
It's a different sport. That's the realization.
And it's different. And also, we talk about those sponsors and people who get involved with it. There's a big expo that goes on with them. So when they come in, so there's a, when you have those things like that, it's a lot of money. It's going to change hands.
Yeah, let me ask you about that because one of the reasons we brought you on the show is not just your vast experience around sports, but also around the business of sports. The idea of the expo, the NIL expo you were at, esports expo. And all the way down to the Gwinnett Stripers doing an expo before their season and letting people pick their seats. But talk about some of the expos that come around the city of Atlanta. So we say, hey, they do that for money, but there's more out of it than that. I mean, talk about some of the reasons why people do these large expositions, and I was trying to think of a different word, but a summit. I don't know, maybe that's the better word.
Because there's something else that is offered to a sponsor. Another way that they can get before people, right? And more than just having a billboard, more than just getting your sign rolling by. We're going to set up this area. You can come and just display what you have. One of the greatest expos I saw when I go to the event in Savannah with the athletic directors is the expo that's set up for people who have equipment and gear geared toward high school athletics. Who sells you those pylons that go in? Who sells you that electronic scoreboard? Who sells you? You know what I saw that was amazing? A robot that lines off the field for you.
Oh my God! Every
way.
equipment manager in the world wants one of those.
Come on.
You can program that sucker, and it will line off the field for you perfectly, and you can sit back in air conditioning drinking your lemonade. Think about the coaches doing the summer that are out there in the heat, man. A big old stripe going down one side about to try to line up fields. This thing, you program it. I watched it. It's amazing.
What was it? The chefs? Remember the commercial? Was it a Snickers commercial where the guy was lining the field and he misspelled cheese?
Yeah. Yeah.
We wouldn't have that anymore.
Right.
We were
The
never going to
chefs.
have to deal
Who
with
are
that.
the chefs?
But
Chefs.
when I think about things in the high school athletics, that expo they have at that event every year because they have the athletic directors, they have the decision makers who's going to come down and invest in those type things. So it's great to see them there. The turf, which we got a couple of companies around the area that supplies that all the high school fields have gone turf because you got so many sports being played on it. But go back to esports for a minute.
Yeah.
During the time we were shut down for the virus and nobody was playing anything except for Korean baseball at 4:30 in the morning, NASCAR.
Oh, no. I knew it was going to happen, Stephen.
NASCAR figured it out. They have an esport that is just like the real thing. The drivers set up in, have the console and stuff they set up in their house, and they had a racing league that was going on anyway. So what did they do? They put the racing league with the drivers, the regular drivers in the racing league, and they put it on Fox Network. Let's go with a broadcast. And people tuned in and watched it. And the thing of it is, you got a younger generation who's tuning into that.
Because they can play the game.
They can play the game.
And the older generation just wants to see their
But they can watch
their
their driver.
You
Yeah.
can watch the driver,
Right.
but you can play a game that is just like the real thing.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, there's some
Except there's no right turns. There's never a right turn. is there? Never.
On the road
they
course,
got
on the
road
road
courses. They
course.
got
Come
more
on
road
now.
courses now.
They're
They're
working
road
on it.
courses
I know.
now.
Michigan.
Yeah.
So I was the only thing missing from that was fantastic,
Yeah.
right? And they figured it out. The only thing that would have, I think, made it better is if they had allowed the fans to finally get in the headphones of the drivers. And, come on, you got to go faster. Just giving them
I'm running out of
direction.
gas.
Yeah.
Watch
out for that bird.
And that's something you can do when you go to the track. You
Yeah.
go to the track, you can get that, and you can listen to some of it. Some of it may not be G rated, but you can do that when you go to the track.
Now, did you cut your teeth on NASCAR when you first started?
No, man. I NASCAR. I was after college before I actually went to a race. I followed it because it was something, and especially in this part of the country, it was still very regional. It's not that anymore, to the chagrin of some, but to the excitement of others. When you're racing in the L.A. Coliseum, did you ever think you'd see a stock car race in a place that you went to see a lot of football games?
No, never.
I did.
Never.
You know why?
No.
Money.
Yeah, well,
Very, very much.
yeah, but not there. That's not the right spot for it.
Yeah, it
but,
is.
But
Yeah, it is. The crowd doesn't say so.
Listen,
You
I
got-
watched
you got packed-
motocross.
you got packed
I watched
fans.
motocross in the L.A. Coliseum. I used to love that on ESPN when they'd come off that big hill. That's fantastic.
that's different, though. I'm just saying come on, it is different.
All
It's
you
a
need is an
motor.
oval.
It's still
Okay,
loud, all that
whatever.
kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I'm just saying there should be another place a bigger track. Bigger track.
Well, they got one down. They got down in Fontana. It snowed.
Fontana
We went
and
down there
Vegas
this year.
has one. You're going to
Yeah.
have all kinds of places if you can afford the real estate.
But that's the thing, to take the sport to people. And we just talked about it with football, right? You're taking the sport to people, or people having to come to a place. You don't have to come to this rural area where you got this track. You're going to bring it into the city. In a few weeks, They're going to block off streets in Chicago. You know how much money it costs to block off streets in Chicago in the middle of town? People can't come in there and do business as usual. They're going to have a NASCAR race through the streets of Chicago, Illinois. And I mean, somebody's paying a whole lot of money. I think about here in Atlanta, when you want to get a block to do a film, how much the city of Atlanta gets, or here in Gwinnett County, if you're going to do a film or shoot somewhere, you have to pay for that time. If it's blocking off a street and business can't be conducted, they're going to have to block that street off for the better part of a week
Has
to
the
have a race.
has the sport changed where there used to be 2 races in Atlanta, now there's only 1?
No, we got 2 now.
Well,
We got the second one back. We took it back.
we took
We took it back. Well, they reconfigured the track. They reconfigured the track. Atlanta races like Talladega and Daytona now. There's a lot of lead changing. It drives like a super speedway. It's a lot of fun to watch, and now they're going to do a night race this year. That's coming up in a few weeks too. Matter of fact, that's the week after Chicago. Nice. They're man, that's going to be great.
Can I jump in and change the
Come on.
subject?
Come
Because
on in.
you're talking about events coming to Atlanta, and Sam's a big tennis guy, covers tennis, and we have a 1 ATP event. It's a 250 level. It's a very low level. That's why you don't get the big stars here. But Atlanta, as you know, with Alta, is the largest recreational league in the entire country. Why are we not able to draw one of the bigger tournaments in Atlanta? Is it because we just don't have the place for it?
I think the place they're playing it proved to be popular with the players.
Atlantic Station.
Atlantic Station. Who knew that you have a retail residential area, which, oh, by the way, where we are, it will be, to hold a tennis event, and it works. The players are they appreciate being in town. They got a hotel there. If their family wants to come watch a movie, they do all the different things, the amenities that are around them to do that.
They don't have to leave the parking lot to see Cirque du Soleil. They can see all that stuff.
Well, the court.
I know they're not there at the same time.
The courts are set up where the Cirque du Soleil goes.
I'm teasing.
That's going
But
on.
as big a tennis player that Mike is, and then you've followed and played for decades.
Yeah, I mean it's been neat because Atlanta had a rap for a long time as being an area where people love to play tennis but wouldn't come out and watch.
Right.
And so this has had a chance to kind
There's
of
been
prove
nothing
it
to come
wrong.
watch.
But I scratch my head when thinking about that.
We had an Olympic level facility at
Yeah.
Stone
Oh,
Mountain
well, don't
when
get
they
me-
did
don't
it.
get me
Yeah,
started.
but
What?
they didn't take advantage of that
I show people pictures of that thing and they said, "What? You guys tore that place down? What's
Yep.
wrong with you?"
because they didn't do events there.
It was a baby Flushing Meadow. I love that place.
Yep.
But everybody say you built it at the wrong place. You built it at the wrong place at the wrong time, and people wouldn't come out to support it.
And that's true, right?
Yeah, and it never really linked up with the Stone Mountain Park. The Stone Mountain Park people wanted nothing to do with it. And so that was the whole thing. That was a back entrance because I went out there. I saw Arancha Sanchez Vicario play during the Olympics out there. And there was a gate, and they didn't want anybody to man that gate or didn't want to hire somebody to man it. And anyway, it went away, and it was a shame. It made us look kind of silly to have something in our area like that and not find a way to make it work successfully. So
Well, and one of the ongoing stories of something like the Olympics or the World Cup is today is how stuff gets wasted or they build all this and then they never use it. Atlanta, for the most part, out of their Olympics, got so much good out of it.
Yeah.
Got the state, what became Turner Field, the Olympic Park, the horse park is still here.
Still there.
That's the one that I thought, well, that'll never last, but it has.
Georgia Tech Aquatic Center.
Yeah, the aquatic center is
the
fantastic.
cement
Still
pond.
used.
they're
so
still swimming in the cement pond.
so all that stuff, the tennis is about the only thing that
Yeah.
you would have to say, well, that was kind of a failure. But it took like 30 years for it to fail, or 20 years
Well,
for it to fail.
but it sat there collecting dust for the longest. But my thing is, what could Gwinnett possibly get? Because we do play soccer in this area. We got youth soccer players coming up. We got a young man that's playing, Tyler Wolf, who's playing for Atlanta United, who's a product of this area. His dad went to Parkview High School. So, I mean, we got a history of soccer in the area. What might this area get from 2026? That would be a part of the infrastructure here, and I hope that people here are looking at that as an opportunity to get people to come to Gwinnett during that time.
Sam, I wanted to ask you, Harper mentioned you have a show. You've sat here and given us so much, and you've not once taking advantage of talking about your show. So you have a show on 92.9. Talk a little bit, give us a little bit about what you're doing, apart from just having great conversation with all kinds of people and giving up your time.
This is enough, right, to come in and do that. I think this is fantastic.
That.
And I appreciate you guys having me by. Just the thing we do at 92.9 The Game, been there for a while. Weekend mornings, myself and Greg Clarkson just have a lot of fun. And we our show a little different. We kind of like your show with we kind of like your slippers and your robe on weekend mornings. Just get up and tune us on, and we talk about what's happened during the course of the week. He likes to do the casting call. He's involved in a lot of the acting and productions that go on around the area. So we throw that in. But I like to think we kind of sum up some of the things and get you set for next week. And of course, during the season, we're like your lead in on Sundays leading into Falcon game days, where you get Harper and get set for a team that we hope will be. I think I'm pretty excited about what this team is going to be this year with the infusion of new talent, another good draft class, and a year of maturity from the guys that were drafted last year. I look forward to Falcons having a playoff season.
Perhaps we should let Harper comment on that. What are your feelings of
Hey,
that?
it's kind of nice, Sam, isn't it, that they've got a couple bucks to spend?
Yeah.
And they spent all their free agent money on defense, pretty much. I mean, brought in a tight end and a couple wide receivers. But I'm thrilled that we finally have some guys that really not only the rest of the league knows, but you give Arthur Smith a chance to work with these guys. We've had to wait 2 years.
Yeah, we have.
When he got the job, we don't have any money. We spent it all.
Yeah.
Previous administration kind of, we don't have anything. But yeah, go ahead and put your 43-man roster together.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, it's been a struggle. So now he finally, if Desmond Ridder can sling it, we're going to surprise a lot of folks, because I think the preseason prognosticators. No, I don't think so. Yeah, right. You better show it. You're Atlanta, 28-3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
28-3.
Yeah,
That's all we need to
right,
talk about.
Right.
And so these guys can prove themselves right and a lot of people wrong.
Yep.
There's been a lot of one-score games with the Falcons the last couple of years, and so you learn how to win.
And a few bad calls, right? Arthur's when Wes said once, he goes, Arthur Smith looks like he's going to combust. I thought that was the best word, because as mad as that man, but his passion and his love for the game is genuine. And so I think some good things here locally are going to take place.
Very much. That's what we're looking forward to.
Sam Crenshaw from 92.9 The Game, from school days, from pre-show for the Falcons. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Hope you enjoyed your time. And normally we tell people, hey, tell everybody just needs to go to 92.9 and apparently get a cup of coffee or a nice cup of tea or your morning energy drink, sit back and listen to you and Greg Clarkson.
Yeah, I don't have a robe. Can I listen to the show if I don't have a robe?
Even without the robe. Well, we put on something there, man.
Yeah.
Put on something, but enjoy it.
Put on something.
Plug your TV as well. You also do TV sportscasting.
Yeah, tell about your
TV over at CW 69. We're doing a really unique newscast that we're doing there. I get a chance to be a part of. It's something new and different, and they invited me to come on board. So I'm very excited about getting a chance to do that in a little bit of a different lane. So that's the life I've kind of known for a number of years. So
ESPN Plus with Matt Stewart. Talk about that.
ESPN Plus, doing some things. Also ESPN Plus with Georgia State women's basketball, which we are very excited about. They have a young lady coming in. Some people may have heard of Scoot Henderson, basketball player. His sister, coming out of Cale High School, is a commit to Georgia State. She'll be coming to play there. So looking to see some things change as far as that with the new facility at Georgia State, which has really been set up a lot for esports. The new convocation center that seats about 8,500 people for basketball. So it's pretty remarkable what they're doing.
Georgia Tech got to play one of the first games in the new convocation center. So
it will next season. It will be Georgia State and Georgia Tech.
Yeah. So by the way, he's a media veteran. When he talked about CW, which everybody should go watch him, he was like, unique and different. Didn't give anything other than that, which is basically hey, you need to check it out. So everybody check out Sam on the CW or Georgia State Athletics or 92.9 The Game, or just Google Sam Crenshaw and then follow him. So
yeah, it's too bad he doesn't have his toe in any of the pools.
Yeah, I know, man. You got to get more involved, Sam. Come on, what's the deal? So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
Harper,
we appreciate you getting involved, and Sam, love having you on the show. And if you love Subaru, then you're a part of what the Subaru experience is all about. Enjoy the enjoy this big savings and the hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people will love to sell you your next car. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com. Join their family today. You can come in and see the difference. If you're already a Subaruist, then check out their Facebook page for the latest news, offers, and community events.
Mike Harper almost said free Subaru on the air. So that would have changed the structure.
If you'd like a free Subaru, just visit Mike, and he'll let you have his.
We better get a whole lot of Subaru small scale models, and then we can. That's what my dad
I saw
always
the
said, "I'll give you a
BRX,
car."
that little sports car last night. There's a royal blue. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
If you haven't
What
gone
a
to the
gorgeous vehicle.
their new facility here on Satellite Boulevard, fantastic. So go check out Subaru of Gwinnett. They will not give you a free car. But they'll give you a good deal.
But hassle free.
You had Sam on today. You didn't even get to we never talked about the Hawks, where they're going, the Braves.
Well, you were pointing at your watch.
No, we are. So I'm saying we
He's
have
not
to
even wearing a watch.
I
He's
did
pointing
not
at it.
realize that Sam lives basically 2 miles from here.
Well,
so
then
you have to.
sounds
he'll
like
have to come
Sam
back.
needs to come back on
Let
the
me
air.
know. Just let me know.
Yeah.
We go back through.
Absolutely. So for our guest Sam and for our producer Mike and for Harper LaBelle, this is your slightly annoying co-host Stephen Julian. Thanking you for being here. We'll catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.